Hare Krishna, good morning, and thank you for joining Srimad Bhagavatam class and attentive japa, last program of 2021. And we'll make a start right now. We're talking about the two doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, were cursed by the sages, the four Kumaras. And this is the second part of that incident. Last week, we saw that Jaya and Vijaya were cursed, and then Lord Narayan came, and the four Kumaras glorified him, and then Lord Narayan responded, and he was actually quite, he was very sorry for the incidents, and he felt very guilty about the incident, about what had happened. But, end of the day, it's all Krishna's arrangement anyway. So after Lord Narayan delivered his speech, so we'll continue from there. So the Lord's excellent speech was difficult to comprehend because of its momentous import and its most profound significance. The sages heard it with wide open ears and pondered it as well. But although hearing, they couldn't understand what he had intended to say or to do. It should be understood that no one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead in speaking. There is no difference between the Supreme Person and his speeches, for he stands on the absolute platform. The sages tried with wide open ears to understand the words from the lips of the Supreme Lord, but although his speech was very concise and meaningful, the sages couldn't completely comprehend what he was saying. They couldn't even comprehend the purport of the speech or what the Supreme Lord wanted to do, nor could they understand whether the Lord was angry or pleased with them. So they were completely confused and baffled by what Lord Narayan said. So the four Brahmana sages were nevertheless extremely delighted to behold him, and they experienced a thrill throughout their bodies. They then spoke as follows to the Lord, who had revealed the multi-glories of the Supreme Personality through his internal potency, Yogamaya. The sages were almost too puzzled to speak before the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the first time, and the hairs of their body stood erect due to the extreme joy. The highest opulence in the material world is called Param Esthaya or Esthaya, the opulence of Brahma. But the material opulence of Brahma, who lives on the topmost planet within this material world, cannot compare to the opulence of the Supreme Lord, because the transcendental opulence in the spiritual world is caused by Yogamaya, whereas the opulence in the material world is caused by Mahamaya. Okay, let's do some prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kuroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Girim Yat Kirpatam Vande Shri Guru Deen Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivan Rotamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tatu Jayam Udiriyat Nasta Presha Avadareshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Nishtaki. Hare Krishna. So now the four Kumaras responded. The sages said, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are unable to know what you intend for us to do, for even though you are the Supreme Ruler of all, you speak in our favor as if we had done something good for you, although they had just cursed his two doormen, but Lord Narayan made it sound like that they had done him a favor, and they couldn't understand. They were expecting to be told off. So, what do you think you're doing, coming here and talking to my staff? like that and cursing them, but instead they've been thanked, and they couldn't understand why, why was this the attitude. So the sages couldn't understand that the Supreme Personal Godhead, who is above everyone, was speaking as if he were in the wrong. Therefore, it was difficult for them to understand the words of the Lord. They could understand, however, that the Lord was speaking in such a humble way, just to show them his own merciful favor. O Lord, you're the supreme director of the Brahmanical culture. You're considering the Brahmins to be in the highest position is your example for teaching others. Actually, you are the supreme worshipful deity, not even for the gods, but for the Brahmanas also. In the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated that Supreme Personality Godhead is the cause of all causes. There are undoubtedly many demigods, the chief of whom are Brahma and Shiva. Lord Vishnu is the Lord of Brahma and Shiva, not to speak of Brahmanas in this material world. As mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita, the Supreme Lord is very favorable towards all activities performed according to Brahmanical culture. And we discussed a lot last week about Brahmanas, how Krishna protects his Brahmanas, or the qualities of control of the sense and mind, cleanliness, forbearance, faith in scriptures, and practical and theoretical knowledge. This is the culture of the Brahmins. The Lord is the super soul of everyone. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord is the source of all emanations, thus he is also the source of Brahma and Shiva. So he is the original cause of everything, even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, the dust of whose feet is worn on the head by others, waits upon you. So this is the four Kumaras glorifying again Lord Narayan as appointed, for she is anxious to secure a place in the abode of the king of bees, who hovers on the fresh wreath of tulsi leaves, hovered at your feet by some blessed devotee. As previously described, Tulsi has attained all superior qualities due to being placed at the lotus feet of the Lord. The comparison made here is very nice, as the king of bees hovers over the Tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. So the Lakshmi, the goddess who is sought by the demigods, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and everyone else, always engages in rendering service to the lotus feet of the Lord. The conclusion is that no one can be the benefactor of the Lord. Everyone is actually the servant of the Lord. O Lord, you are exceedingly attached to the activities of your devotees, yet you are never attached to the goddess of fortune, who constantly engage in your transcendental loving service. How can you be purified, therefore, by the dust of the path traversed by the Brahmanas? And how can you be glorified or made fortunate by the marks of Shivatsa on your chest? Because he's already transcendental and absolute, so doesn't need anything or anyone to make him any bigger, or any compliment is not enough for Lord Krishna or Lord Narayan. Oh Lord, you are the personification of all religion. Therefore, you manifest yourself in 3 millenniums, and thus you protect this universe, which consists of animate and inanimate beings. By your grace, which is of pure goodness and is the bestower of all blessings, kindly drive away the elements of Rajas and Tamas for the sake of the demigods and twice-born. O Lord, you are the protector of the highest of the twice-born. If you don't protect them by offering worship and mild words, then certainly the auspicious path of worship will be rejected by people in general who act on the strength of authority of your lordship. So this is what they're saying, that the Lord is glorifying the Brahmanas to set an example for the people, for the general public. Dear Lord, you never want the auspicious path to be destroyed, for you are the reservoir of all goodness. Just to benefit people in general, you destroy the evil element by your mighty potency. You are the proprietor of the 3 creations and the maintainer of the entire universe. Therefore, your potency is not reduced by your submissive behavior. Rather, by submission, you exhibit your transcendental pastimes. So, Krishna is never lower in any of his pastimes. Anything he does still comes out victorious and bigger than everybody else. So Lord Krishna was never reduced in his position by becoming a cowherd boy, or by offering respect to Sudama, Brahma, or his other devotees like Nanda Maharaj, Vasudev, Maharaj Yudhishthir, and the Pandavas, Mother Kunti. Everyone knew that he was the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna, yet his behavior was exemplary. The Supreme Person of Godhead is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. His form is completely spiritual, full of bliss and knowledge, and it is eternal because the living entities are his parts and parcels. Originally, they also belong to the same quality of eternal form as the Lord. But when they come in contact with Maya, the material potency, due to their forgetfulness, their existential constitution is covered. We should try to understand the appearance of Lord Krishna in this spirit. As the Kumaras pray to him, so this is how we should understand it as well. He is eternally a cowherd boy at Vrindavan. He is eternally the leader of the battle of Kurukshetra, and is eternally the opulent prince of Dwarka and the lover of the damsels of Vrindavan. So Krishna can be high as you want and he can be low as you want. He still remains absolute. All his appearances are meaningful because they show his real characteristics to the conditioned souls who have forgotten their relationship with Supreme Lord. He does everything for their benefit. The force exhibited in the battle of Kurukshetra by the desire of Krishna and through the agency of Arjuna was also necessary, because when people become too religious, force is required. Non-violence in this respect is rascaladom, Srila Prabhupada says. So a lot of people do complain that Krishna could have stopped this war, could have saved the lives of so many people, but in the eyes of God, it was a necessary war to get rid of religion. So Krishna knows what he's doing, but most of us question his actions. Oh Lord, whatever punishment you wish to award to these two innocent persons, or also to us, because they just cursed his two doormen, we shall accept without duplicity. We understand that we have cursed two faultless persons. So now they have met Lord Narayan and the two doormen. They're feeling guilty now. That why did they just curse two doormen of Lord Narayan? They feel bad now that they shouldn't have been so hasty in their actions. The sages, the four Kumaras, now reject the cursing of the two doorkeepers, Jaya and Vijaya, because now they are now conscious that persons who engage in the service of Lord cannot be faulted at any stage. It is said that anyone who has implicit faith in the service of the Lord, who actually engages in transcendental loving service, has all the good qualities of the demigods. Therefore, a devotee cannot be at fault. If sometimes it is found that he is in error by accident or by some temporary arrangement, that should not be taken very seriously. The cursing of Jay and Vijay is here repented by the four Kumaras. Now the Kumaras are thinking in terms of the position in the mode of passion and ignorance, and they are prepared to accept any kind of punishment from the Lord. In general, when dealing with devotees, we should not try to find faults. So that is instruction to us. In Bhagavad-Gita, also it is confirmed that the devotee who faithfully serves the Supreme Lord, even if found to commit a gross mistake, should be considered a sadhu or saintly person. Due to former habits, he may commit some wrong, but because he is engaged in the service of the Lord, that wrong should not be taken very seriously. Or at least we should not condemn someone because they've done something wrong. They should not be condemned for life. We all make mistakes. That is one of our defects. And because previously we were contaminated a lot more by material energy, so it's still the signs are still there. So it takes time. Now, this is what the four Kumaras said to the Lord. Now, this is again now the Lord responds to them for what they just said. The Lord replied, "O Brahmanas, know that the punishment you inflicted on them, O his two domain, was originally ordained by me, and therefore they will fall to a birth in a demoniac family, but they will be firmly united with me in thought through mental concentration, intensified by anger." So all the personalities that Jaya and Vijaya became, they were always thinking of the Lord, although in an angry mood. And they will return to my presence shortly. The Lord stated that the punishment inflicted by sages upon the doorkeepers Jaya and Vijaya was conceived by the Lord himself. Without the Lord's sanction, nothing can happen. Excuse me. It is to be understood that there was a plan in the cursing of the Lord's devotees in Vaikuntha. And his plan is explained by many stalwart authorities. The Lord sometimes desires to fight. So this was the reason why he arranged for Jaya and Vijay to go to the material world. So it could have an opportunity to fight with them. This is just pastime. The fighting spirit also exists in the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how could fighting be manifested at all? Because the Lord is the source of everything. Anger and fighting are also inherent in his personality. When he desires to fight with someone, he has to find an enemy. But in the Vaikuntha world, there is no enemy. This is the issue that he had in the mood of fighting, but he couldn't find an enemy in the Vaikuntha world because everyone is engaged fully in his service. Therefore, he sometimes comes to the material world as an incarnation in order to manifest his fighting spirit. Thus, Jaya and Vijaya was selected by the Lord to fight with him in the material world, and that was the reason the sages came to see him, and accidentally the doorkeepers were cursed, or the four commanders were used as an instrument to curse the doorkeepers. It was the Lord's desire to send them to the material world, not perpetually, but for some time. Therefore, just as on theatrical stage sometimes takes the part of enemy to the proprietor of the stage, although the play is not for it, is for a short time, and there is no permanent enmity between the servant and the proprietor. So the Surajans, which are devotees, were cursed by the sages to go to the Asurajans, or the atheistic families. That a devotee should come into an atheistic family is surprising, but is simply a show. After finishing their mock fighting, both the devotee and the Lord are again associated in the spiritual planets. So it's very difficult for us to understand this scenario that Lord, he arranges something like this. He arranges demons. He makes his own devotees into demons so he could fight with them. It's quite inconceivable for us, but this is the Prabhupada is mentioning here, and this is we also seen for the past time that this is what actually happened. So Lord Brahma said, and this is Lord Brahma just telling the story to I think Nardmuni. After seeing the Lord of Vaikuntha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the self-eliminated Vaikuntha planet, the sages left that transcendental abode. So after this conversation and the Lord's response, the sages left from there. The sages circumambulated the Supreme Lord, offered their obeisances, and returned, extremely delighted at learning of the divine opulence of the Vaishnava. It is still a respectful practice to circumambulate the Lord in Hindu temples, especially in Vaishnava temples. There is an arrangement for people to offer their respects to the deity and the temple at least 3 times. So that is the culture that when you are at a temple, you circumambulate 3 times, go around the deities. And this is what the 4 Kumaras showed. Lord Brahma said, after seeing the Lord of Vaikuntha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the self-illuminated Vaikuntha planet, the sages left the transcendental abode. The sage offered obeisance and returned, extremely delighted at learning of the divine opulence of the Vaishnav. The Lord then said to his attendants, Jaya and Vijaya, so the four Kumaras are now gone. Now Lord is giving instructions to Jaya and Vijaya. Depart this place, but fear not. All glory is unto you. Though I am capable of nullifying the Brahmana's curse, I would not do so. On the contrary, it has my approval. This departure from Vaikuntha was foretold by Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. She was very angry because when she left my abode and then returned, you stopped her at the gate while I was sleeping. So this similar incidents has happened before, which made the goddess of fortune very angry at at Jaya and Vijaya before. So it was arranged, I guess, when Lord will want his pastime, he will choose them. That's how they were probably chosen. The Lord assured the two Vaikuntha inhabitants, Jaya and Vijaya, by practicing the mystic yoga system in anger, you will be cleansed of the sin of disobeying the Brahmanas and within a very short time return to me. After the speaking at the door of Vaikuntha, the Lord returned to his abode, where there are many celestial airplanes and also surpassing wealth and splendor. But those two gatekeepers, the best of the demigods, their beauty and luster diminished by the curse of the Brahmanas, became morose and fell from Vaikuntha, the abode of the Supreme Lord. So it mentions the demigods are a lot more beautiful. They lost a lot more luster than people in the material world. So they lost their luster and beauty and were sent to the material world to take birth. Thank you so much for joining. Jai Prabhu, Partha Prabhu, Praveen Mataji, Sureshya Mataji. Thank you for joining. Would love to have some views from you. What do we gather from this pastime? Partha Prabhu, would you like to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, nice speaking to you.
I don't have anything to add.
Who can't hear you?
Can you hear me now, Prabhuji?
Yes, yep, better.
Thank you for a nice class, Prabhuji. That's all. It's a very nice thing.
Thank you.
Understand the reason of circumambulating in the temple as well. That is very nice.
So what is the reason? I mean, because the four Kumaras, that was just like glorification.
Yeah. I mean, you said like it's being followed even now in the temples now.
Yes.
At least 3 times we circumambulate around the lordships in the temple.
Sure.
That is nice, Prabhuji.
Sure. But what does it mean? Do you know what does it actually mean to circumambulate?
I mean, we will go around the Lord in the full temple. Like we need to start from the left hand side. When we go to the temple, we need to start from the left hand side and do a full round around the Lord, like 3 times. And they also say that like when we do this, like Stapana of the Lord, because of the mantras they chant, that has got certain power. That is why it is exactly in the middle of the temple. And when we circumambulate, it gives that spiritual effect to us actually. That's all, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, 3 times going clockwise. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. Jay Prabhu?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So, I'll just go through some of this few points. We got 4 Kumaras glorifying the Supreme Personality of God. It's some of the things they say are, you are the Supreme Director of Brahmanical culture. You are the protector of religion and the supreme objective of religious principles. So, in relation to this, in the paper, Prabhupada quotes, I think it's verse 18.66. He says, like Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, give up all other religious engagement and just surrender unto me. So this is the most confidential of all knowledges in executing religious principles. So then he says, you exceedingly attached to the activities of your pure devotees, and yet never attached to a goddess of fortune who constantly engages in your transcendental loving service. So you're the personification of religion, and you manifest yourself in 3 millenniums. So, and you are the protector of the highest of the twice born. So all classes of men, the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, should be given special protection. When there is no protection, a special treatment given to such persons, then such devotees of the Lord, then the whole of society is lost. You are the protector. You are the reservoir of all goodness. You are the originator of the 3 creations and the maintainer and the protector of the entire universe. So before the Kumaras leave, they were told their punishment was inflicted onto the originally. He was ordained by the Lord himself, and they would fall into a demonic realm, but not return back to the Vaikuntha. So Jaya and Vijaya were told that by the Lord that he could have nullified the curse if he wanted to, but he wasn't. He's not going to do so because they had also doing all this to Lakshmiji. So so these 2 doorkeepers, fell down from Vaikuntha into the material world, into the womb of deity. So I mean, when you look at it, it's only a misunderstanding, and they had my conclusion is that because the Lord needs some enemies in the material world, that's what happened. But yeah, it was just a simple misunderstanding. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you. Yeah, Lord has he has a lot of enemies, I guess, in the material world, but he wants a pastime, because this is also a rasa. Fighting is also a rasa. It's not the top rasa, but it's also a rasa or pastime that the Lord would like. But he prefers to have the rasa with his pure devotees. It's like to them it's like a mock fight, like families, this wrestling kind of thing. Is to the Lord, that's just mock fighting, I guess, and it's pastime for the other devotees as well, so they can, and the demigods, so they can all glorify the Lord, or see his, he has the most strength, the most opulence, so he has most of everything. So it's a combination of things that the Lord from time to time, he likes to show, just to remind people as well. And so I think it was mentioned that he preferred to do this, his pastimes with these pure devotees. So he arranged it. But it just shows that your minds can be totally bewildered by by the mercy of the Lord. The 4 Kumaras were bewildered, Jaya and Vijaya were bewildered, and we know stories about Lord Brahma and Lord Indra bewildered. So nobody is above Lord Narayan and Lord Krishna. He can control everyone, and he can control Maya as well. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Parveen Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Yeah, very nice. Nicely summarized by Jai Prabhu as well. Nicely. But only one thing came to my mind. Like I said, devotee cannot be at fault, and a devotee does not fall, even if is involved in a abominable act. And then how do still the devotees they fall? How come we all come to material world then? Because if there is no karma in the spiritual world, and a devotee cannot be at fault, so it's a bit confusing again.
It is, yeah, it's the same question Jai Prabhu was asking last week, and this question was asked so many times to Srila Prabhupada as well. And there was no, Srila Prabhupada, the same question, he would answer differently every time. Any question was asked to Prabhupada, if you look at the pattern, he would have a different answer according to time and place and circumstance, I guess. He would give a different answer to every question. And for this question, he never, really answered in any detail. It was like different. He would either say, look, you don't need to know this. Or he would say that those souls weren't in Goloka. Maybe they were in Vaikuntha, or they were in the effulgence in the Brahman, something like that. He would say. So, but end of the day, because we're talking about eternity and something, with our souls, we do form sort of envy to the Lord. Somehow or other, we do get envy. This is the bottom line. The only time we would fall is that if we become envious to the Lord. When we become envious, then we have to leave and purify ourselves, and then we can go back. But once we come here into the material world, we become contaminated even more, because this is the material world, and the material energy contaminates us. So we are stuck in this rut. And then as we make matters worse, we get stuck in the 8.4 million lives. And it's a vicious cycle, vicious circle, very, very, it's like what do they call it? In the sand, people get stuck in the sand and in the quicksand. It's like that. Once you're in there, the more you try to get out, the further you go in. This is the way the material world works. So we need the mercy of Krishna. It's a good job. Krishna has just reminded us, how to get back, because we are so engrossed in our material lives and a sense gratification that we don't think about going back. We think, well, we don't know that there is a way back. We think, there's only good and bad. And if we do good, we'll get in next life, it will be good. If we do bad, our next life will be bad. If we do really good, we'll go to heaven and enjoy. And then when our credits are finished, we'll come back. This is as far as we can think. But it's thanks to Srila Prabhupada, he has given us the knowledge that we can actually get out. We didn't know that we could actually get out with this mess. We just thought we could either have a good life or a bad life or just okay life. But we didn't know that we could actually leave this material world altogether. And that's mercy of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, that we got this knowledge. And by the mercy of the Lord, we have a torchlight showing us the way out of this, and we should use it. This is the thing. So it's all about envying the Lord. Somehow the Lord, the soul becomes envious, and then there's no room for envy in the spiritual world. But somehow the soul becomes envious. That's all I can tell you, Mataji.
Yeah, but sometimes, Prabhuji, I feel like I'm getting more entangled, although my 100% desire and like with honesty, I'm trying to do everything, but my life, because of my responsibilities and everything, it just seems it's getting more and more entangled. So then sometimes it's disheartening.
Yes, Mother, you just have to pray. When you have to pray to the Lord.
Prabhupada, I want Prabhupada to answer, where we're going wrong. So now, because recently my mother-in-law had a fall, so she's broken her hip. So yeah, because I was trying to do my best to take care of them. They were very happy, settled in nicely. And I was encouraging her to walk in the garden, and she fell down. So she was operated yesterday. So I'm thinking all these things, they are in a way coming in way as an obstacle to my devotional service.
Yeah.
So I don't know what wrong I'm doing,
Mataji, it happens. I mean, we have to take, Krishna realizes that we have responsibilities. So material life and spiritual life, they go side by side. Okay, especially as Grihasthas, you have to live both lives. But if you or making an effort, your sincere effort in your spiritual life, then Krishna understands. He understands your responsibilities, and he understands that you are sincerely trying, and he accepts your bhakti. You can only do your best, and you can only do your endeavor. The mercy has to come from the Lord and through his devotees. So if it's not in your hands, what can you do? There's nothing you can do about it. You can only try and you can only pray. So Krishna understands that, if you have situations that make it difficult, it's like people who have, they work night shifts or they work all hours. They say, look, where do we fit in our bhakti? We just don't have. So they have to pray that Krishna arranges for them in such a way that they can find time. Krishna can expand time. He can expand your time. What we didn't have time for one round, now we can do 16 rounds. We can do more rounds. Just where does that time come from? It's come from Krishna expands your time. He can make anything work. He can arrange anything. You just have to be pray until when the time comes. He will sort it for you.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, now got 100% faith in Krishna. But sometimes, I feel like, what am I doing wrong? So I must be doing something wrong, So for all this to happen, so just trying to analyze my mistakes. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
You all make mistakes, Mata. Everybody makes mistakes. Like we said, this is a prison or a hospital, right? In this hospital, and we are patients here.
Yeah.
It's
just like the snakes and ladder game, like we used to play when we were little. So it just feels like I keep falling down. You're trying to go up, but you come down again.
If it's not in your control, then you cannot be blamed.
Yeah. No. Like I accepted everything as Krishna's plan. So whatever happens, I say, well, yes, it's your plan. So there must be something good for me, whatever's happening. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And Krishna sometimes tests our faith in that. See, are we still strong in our endeavor?
Yes.
So things happen in our lives, and they do. We just have to carry on, and then Krishna, he knows what he wants. He never does anything wrong, but anyway, he just wants us to learn something from it and just be strong in our endeavor. That's all you can do. We can only concentrate on what we can do, what we have control over. What we don't have a control over, we just pray.
No, but in a way, like I can see, so I was talking to my husband yesterday. So I said, what is all this teaching us? What is Krishna trying to teach us? So we have to make most of when we are able to do the devotional service, So we can't say no, not that we are thinking that way anyway, but it is important lesson, so we are learning. So yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Okay, Sveshi Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Everything manifests from Krishna, bad or good, anything we see in this world, all manifested by Krishna. So this fighting, this anger also manifests in Krishna. And so he wanted to have a fight, but he's got no enemies in Vaikuntha. Only you can find the enemies in this material world. So when he comes down, he sends his devotees so he can fight with them. That's the reason he comes down and he sends his devotees. And then the pure devotees who are very pure and who got good qualities, and they're full of humility. They are not offended by the case given to them. Instead, they accept it very favorably. Example, as we have been discussing about Jaya and Vijaya, they were caged by Kumaras. It was the desire of Krishna or Lord Vishnu, Narayana. And same thing happened to Maharaj Amrish. He was caged by Durvasa Rishi. And when Durvasa Rishi caged him, he was offended. he left everything to Lord Krishna, and Krishna helped him when he manifested that evil thing. And Maharaj Indradruman, he was chased by Agastya Rishi, and he wasn't offended. He took it favorably, and the Lord came. So Indradruman, he became elephant, and then Lord came and saved him from crocodile. And then Chitraketu, he was killed by Mata Parvati, but he took it favorably as well. He wasn't offended. And that's why because these are the pure devotees, and they don't mind anything, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Tranad api sunichen saror api saishtuna amanena manadena Krishna sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense, false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So these devotees, those who were caste, they had all the qualities that is mentioned here. They were very, very humble. They were very, very tolerant. They didn't said anything. They could have cursed them back, but they didn't. They just kept quiet and took it very favorably. So that's why if it says, that means if you have good qualities, and then Krishna will help you. Somebody does bad thing for you, but if you surrender to Krishna. But all these devotees, when they were surrendered, they were cursed, they surrendered to Krishna. When you surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will help you. If you want to fight yourself and think I can save myself, then Krishna won't help you. So these are the qualities of the devotees, qualities of devotees, and so we have to learn from them that we have to be humble, we have to be very tolerant, and that's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for explaining so nicely. Absolutely. So if we are in some kind of dilemma, we're not able to do a bhakti as well as we like to. Everything should be centered around Krishna. Even if we are doing looking after the elderly or doing something else, then it should be we should think that this is a task set by Krishna to us. This is what Krishna wants us to do right now. This is our duty, and they are spirit souls as well, and Krishna wants us to look after them. He has set us this task, whether it's children or the elderly. We think of them as Krishna's children, or we're all Krishna's children, and Krishna wants us to look after them. So everything you're doing, just think of it as something Krishna's. It's Krishna's will that he wants us to do this, because everybody belongs to Krishna. The wife belongs to Krishna. The children belong to Krishna. The parents belong to Krishna, and Krishna has. So always think of Krishna has set this task for me. So I'm doing this for Krishna. So if you're doing this for Krishna, then you're ultimately doing your bhakti in that way. Thank you so much. Sureshi Mataji, shall we start around? And then Parveen Mataji, do the second one, please.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravana Picharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pashtata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare